Classic World of Warcraft is in my eyes the best MMO ever made, but as much as I love it, it feels like it has finally reached its limits. The game hasn't changed, it's still as good as ever, but that's exactly the problem. It's just stuck. For an MMO to still be alive after 6 years with basically zero meaningful updates, that's insane. That alone proves how strong Classic's foundation is. I honestly cannot think of any other MMO that could survive being completely ignored by its own developers for that long. Blizzard has left it to rot because they don't understand their game. And no, I do not count Season of Mastery or Season of Discovery as content. Those seasonal experiments go against what an MMO even is. They reset progress, they fracture communities, and they miss the whole point of long-term world building. But fine, if you're going to acknowledge them, let's acknowledge them. Classic WoW has managed to stay alive for 6 years while not only receiving no content, but getting 2 bad seasonal servers that go against what an MMO should be in the first place and that just demoralized people in the end. And that's why everyone, with the exception of Blizzard, is talking about Classic Plus now. That's why so many Classic creators have either quit or moved to other games like RuneScape. That's why private servers are exploding right now, and I would bet good money a few of the biggest ones combined easily have more players than the official era servers right now. All of it points to the same thing Nostalgias did back in Warlords of Draenor. People aren't finding what they love about World of Warcraft inside of World of Warcraft. And this time that includes Classic as well. Because even the best MMO ever made can only thrive outside of our memory for so long. 6 years later, it's starting to show, and Blizzard's complete silence isn't helping. There is just that much Classic that the community, me and you, can play. There are people still having fun, still playing of course. But beyond the fact that we can all see that the game is definitely bleeding players, since it is obvious, all the things I just mentioned prove that as well. But in any way, that's not a problem, right? It's natural. 6 years is a long time for any game to keep people hooked without changing or innovating in any real way. That's just how it goes. You stop playing, take a break, maybe come back when Classic Plus finally launches, or when nostalgia hits again. And sure, a lot of people will do that, but what happens in the meantime? Let's think about it. I've always loved MMOs. I started playing MMOs around 12 years ago with a game called Cabal Online. Then I played Perfect World, then I used to play a lot of retail. At some point I quit retail and came to Classic. Now I maybe play Classic 10 hours a month at most. And when someone who loves MMOs, like me and most of the Classic World of Warcraft players, isn't being fed by their favorite one, they start looking elsewhere. That's exactly what happened with me and my friends. We all love Classic, and yet we're all playing something new now. Some of us like it more than others, but the pattern is clear. People are finding new homes. RuneScape, vanilla private servers, Final Fantasy, Guild Wars, doesn't matter where, just somewhere that feels fresh and alive again. Right now, that might not seem like a big deal to Blizzard. Take my group as an example again. We've only been playing this new MMO for a couple of weeks. If Classic Plus dropped tomorrow, we would drop it and just jump in back to Classic instantly. But it's not dropping tomorrow. And with every day that passes, more and more players get more and more invested in these other worlds. They form guilds, they form friendships, they progress, they learn the systems and the game itself. By the time Classic Plus finally shows up, whenever that is, what we leave behind in these new MMOs is gonna be significant. Leaving an MMO always sucks. You put hours, months, years into a character, a world, a community, and walking away feels like wasting all of that. That sucks a lot even when you quit because the game itself is not good anymore. Now imagine how much it sucks when you quit not because you hate the game, but because you want to try a game that maybe is better. And can you really blame the people who decide not to come back? Why abandon an MMO that you love with your friends and your progress for something Blizzard might mess up again anyway? There's no guarantee that Classic Plus will be good. Blizzard has proven many times, most recently with Season of Discovery, that they don't have a good grasp of what made vanilla World of Warcraft special in the first place. How about content creators? The online presence of an MMO is very important for its health, Because let's be honest, half of why an MMO feels alive is seeing people talk about it, stream it, discuss it. Once that goes away, the game starts feeling empty even if the servers are technically full. Let's take Guzu as a case study. The guy played classic World of Warcraft religiously for years, but now he's been gone for over 7 months. No plans, no reason to come back. Like almost every other former classic creator, he's deep into RuneScape now. Let's be generous and say that Classic Plus actually launches a year from now. By that point, he'll have spent nearly 2 years playing RuneScape. His audience will be built around that game, if it's not already. His stream culture, his community, his jokes, everything. And he's probably having a great time doing it. So why would he just drop all of that and come back to World of Warcraft out of nowhere? I'm not saying he will not try Classic Plus. Everyone will try Classic Plus for the first few weeks. But what happens if it's not fun? What happens if it's just another messy Blizzard experiment with bots everywhere and cringe stuff like nightmare incursions or something else of that sort? Because now, creators aren't chained to World of Warcraft anymore. The moment Classic Plus drops the ball, they have a clean escape route straight back to the games they actually enjoyed and played for a few good years already, without a big risk of losing all their fans. And even if Classic Plus is good, that might still not be enough, because someone like Guzu can still go right back to RuneScape and keep doing well. He won't lose relevance, he's already proven he doesn't need WoW anymore. So if Classic Plus is good, but simply not for him, he can just say fuck it and go to RuneScape, which, don't get me wrong, is a very good thing. And that's the real problem for Blizzard. Blizzard's neglect didn't just push players away, it broke the classic World of Warcraft bubble for most of us. For the vanilla enjoyers of 2019, none of this used to matter. Back then, it didn't matter what other MMOs were doing, for most players. RuneScape wasn't bad, it was still great, but no one cared because Classic was home for these people. Now though, things have changed, even if Classic Plus somehow pulls people back, and it will pull a lot of people back. Imagine what that means for someone who spent the last 2 years grinding RuneScape or any other MMO. They're not just testing a new game now, they're risking their progress, their community, their time from another game for something that we can only hope of being decent. If Classic Plus misses, many of them will just go back. Because this time, why sit around waiting for Blizzard to maybe figure it out when you already have something that's fun right now on another MMO that you love and actually understand? And even if Classic Plus is good, the competition won't just disappear. RuneScape, Guild Wars, Final Fantasy, the private servers, they all have a pull on the classic players now. And they did not really have that before. Sure, the first month will be very hype, everyone will log in, everyone will play, everyone will stream it, but give it a few months and if another MMO drops something new and exciting, some people will drift again. The old stickiness Classic once had is gone simply because Blizzard has moved so slow and cared so little that many MMO enjoyers finally stepped out. It's wild how new this whole situation is, because for years the vanilla fanbase was like a sealed bubble, people rarely left, and if they did, they rarely went to another MMO. But now that situation is changing. Mad Season started playing RuneScape, then Guzu, then others followed, and now tons of classic veterans are out there, in new worlds, realizing they can have fun somewhere else. So yeah, it's a weird reality. If you told me 3 years ago that Classic Plus was coming a year from now, I would have been hyped out of my mind. Back then I actually trusted Blizzard more, and I genuinely believed that the Classic community was still mostly unshakable. Even if Blizzard screwed up at some point, people would still tough it out. Bots, bad updates, whatever. That was just what we did. We waited for Blizzard to finally repair their mess. But now, I don't think that will happen as much. I'm also not very optimistic about Classic Plus anymore. In fact, if I'm being honest, I'm a little scared. There are two things that really worry me. First of all, there's one I already mentioned. Season of Discovery. Yeah, Blizzard eventually started calling it an experiment, but let's be real, that word only started being used once things started going south. Before that, it wasn't an experiment. They treated it like a real standalone season, just like Season of Mastery, where they genuinely thought they were making Classic better. And that's what's scary, because even if it was an experiment, come on, if you're an experienced game designer at the biggest MMO company on the planet, and you need to test whether something like Nightmare Incursions fits a vanilla setting, that really isn't reassuring. That tells me you either do not understand what makes MMOs work on a fundamental level, or you don't understand Classic at all, probably both. Season of Discovery to me proves one thing: the Classic team doesn't get it. They don't understand what made this version of World of Warcraft great in the first place. And the second thing that scares me is the Turtle WoW lawsuit. Not the fact that Blizzard is doing, I get that, legally they have to, but the fact that they're also trying to seize everything the Turtle WoW team has built. That's what bothers me. It's not just a takedown, it's a takeover. They don't just want to shut it down, they want the assets, the code, the creative work, everything. And sure, I get the business logic as well. Free content, proven systems, ready-made Classic Plus ideas. Of course they want to use that. And it would also be very wasteful to just destroy it all. But what really gets me is how they're doing it. When Nostalgia's shut down, Blizzard at least reached out. They hired some of the team, kept communication open, and actually used that collaboration to launch Classic in the first place. This time, they're not talking to anyone. They're not trying to work with the Turtle WoW devs, just taking what they made. That to me says a lot about Blizzard's mindset right now. Maybe I'm reaching, but if they truly cared about the long-term future of Classic Plus, they would want the people who made that world thrive, not just the files on their server. Because what this really looks like isn't inspiration, it's extraction. They don't understand what made Turtle WoW work. They just want to harvest it, repackage it, and slap their logo on it. And that's what scares me the most. It's not just that they are ignoring the people who clearly get vanilla better than they do, it's that they don't even seem to see the value of that knowledge. They'd rather just take the work than learn from the minds behind it. And that shows a mindset that's completely incapable of growth. If Blizzard cannot humble themselves enough to learn from the people who actually understand Classic better, then I do not know how they can expect to recreate it. Because the scary reality is that you cannot make Classic Plus if you still don't understand Classic. So yeah, if Classic launches and it's genuinely good all the way through, it will be fine. The effects of this long drought will still be felt though. That once impenetrable bubble around the game is probably gone for good, but it will be fine and it will survive. If Classic Plus launches and it's amazing, then sure, maybe that bubble can slowly reform. Maybe people will come back home and stay for good again. But if it's just okay, or worse, below mediocre, then I really think that the fallout will shock a lot of people. Because what we're seeing now with Classic is exactly what happened to retail during Shadowlands. Not just people quitting, people leaving for other MMOs entirely. The difference is that Shadowlands was bad, Classic is not bad, it's just been totally forgotten. And honestly, in some ways, that might be worse. Anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking, commenting and subscribing. It really helps more than you think. Till next time, peace.